Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Gardens Grow. Today is Monday, May the 11th, and I did go ahead and fill up my little strawberry pots, both the one in the front and the one in the back. So they're all refilled again, and hopefully they will live this time. You can tell that some of them has done well from day one, but so many of them just didn't make it. So I think actually there was only 2 in this pot that didn't, and I think 4 or 5 in the back pot that did not make it. So, but they're back to a new start again, and hopefully they will just fill out and look beautiful all season long. So, of course, there is so much to do. I need to trim off some of these old blooms that didn't make it because they were just they were all budded out and fixing to open up, and then we got a cold spell at night. So, but I think our nights going below 50 degrees are probably over, and we did not get much rain. I wish we had I'll go back and look in the rain gauge, but we had about maybe even 4 little downpours in the night, Saturday night, and then Sunday morning we had the most that we received, but they were just little quick downpours that I'm sure didn't give us much. But I still have so many pots to fill up, so many little plants that need to be put in pots and given a good chance to live, and I want to see them grow and do wonderfully. This little pot has a lot of potential, but you know, it's not there yet, but I hope it will get there, and I want to get these planted, give them all a chance, and I've told you that before, but I'm still hoping to do that. And I definitely need to take out some of my houseplants and get them used to being outside too. But we actually went from some cold nights in the 40s to some high temperatures in the daytime, so I think it's supposed to be high 80s and in the 90s the first part or all of this week. So I don't know if this is still the right time to bring things out, but I don't know that it's not too, so we'll see what I can get done, because if I wait too long, we know for sure there won't be any more days when it's a little bit cooler, unless we get a chance of rain and a little coolness with that. And I think this one little impatient in the front is the only little white impatient that lived in this pot. Even some of the sedum or spurge, I'm not sure which this is because I've always thought it was sedum, but one of my friends told me that it's spurge, and she could be right. So, but either way, they are still alive in there, but they're looking really puny. So there's a lot of the stuff that I've already got finished that needs to be redone. But I'm going to show you these empty pots one more time, because I'm hoping that at least some of these pots will be full again. Maybe even for this post before I get it ready, I hope some of these pots are full. That there's actually in the back two are pretty much full, but not all together, because you can tell the one in this little pot right here is empty, and I think the one underneath this gazing ball, I think it is empty too. I was so hoping my hostas would come back there, but I'm assuming they're not going to now. So I'll have to figure out where I want to put those 2 hostas that I did purchase, and hopefully I'll put them in the right place to be beautiful, and that they'll be able to come back each year. I want to try this little pot, filling it up again, but now I'm worried that it might be too hot for it. But the little plants that made it in here, I think there's actually just this one that looks really good, but there's about 3 on the back side that do have some life in them that may still live. So my plan for today is just basically to see how many of these little pots I can get looking great, or like they have a great start for looking great the rest of the season. And I was so hoping that my little Minuteman hosta would show up in these pots, but it doesn't look like they're going to. And I still hoped that my little guacamole hosta would come up in this one, but again, it doesn't look like it's going to. So I may have to take this little pot and just trim it down and divide it up and put it in some of those other places. Have you ever noticed that gardening and making something beautiful is a dirty job? Because it certainly can be. Some parts of it definitely will be. And I noticed that some of my husband's little radishes that he planted on the end of this are coming up. He did this last year, and I think even the year before, so it's become kind of a little thing for him to do. But there are a few of them coming up, and actually I like to watch them too, where they put that bright red round at the middle of them, and you can pull them up and have a radish to eat. And I've been bringing this little tray of plants in and out, but I'm not sure that they're prepared to be put in the ground. But I think if I have some time, I'm going to go ahead and try to get these started. And I have been busy when I have the time to be in the garden. I've trimmed back all of the old roses, and I'm planning on going out today and getting the ones that are coming up on my different colored roses. I do not want them to change at least not any sooner than they have to. I want to take that off and take some brush killer and kill the root out if I can. Now, not necessarily these, because these are on my east fence, and I'd just like to keep them in the old roses, but they were all spent and just looking terrible, so I trimmed them off. Not just the rose bloom itself, but all the way down to about maybe a foot or 2 feet from the ground. And as we go out the back door, this is what it looks like now. Remember when there were roses just all the way up almost to that wooden fence? But now they're cut way back, and I like that, so they won't be out of hand too soon, hopefully. And I won't have to do that job in the 100-degree weather, maybe. I also did divide some of my black and blue salvia and put it in places which actually I've learned that I really like that. Let me go over this way just a little bit so I can get to this pot right here. Because when I first put this in there, I thought, well, that's not going to work because it's just going to curl up underneath this little plant stand and not look that pretty, but it didn't. And hopefully it'll just keep doing the way I like it, because what it did was it came up the sides, and the bloom came up closer to this little garden girl, and it just was very pretty. So not only did I put it here, but I put it in 2 more places. And I'm seeing that some of my weeping willow fell down, which is normal every time we have a little bit of a wind. So it's looking like I'm going to spend a lot more time doing little things, or not necessarily little things either, but because this is going to be quite a little job. But I've taken this little garden claw right here and worked up the ground a little bit. And I'm going to put some of that topsoil here, and then I'm going to try to plant some of the volunteer petunias and a few that I actually purchased, and I'm going to try to put some marigold seed in here and try to get this looking pretty. This little plant, I thought it did not look like a weed, and I left it. I'm glad I did, because actually it's a forget-me-not, the pretty blue forget-me-nots, which I had planted all in here. For some reason they didn't make it, and I think it's possibly because this soil is so hard. It's damp now from the little bit of rain that we got, and I still haven't gone over and looked at the rain gauge and see how little it was, but I'll do that just in a minute and show you. And then I'm going to finish working this up, and I'm going to put some topsoil on it. And I'm pretty sure you also noticed that I took that old hose out of there. And this is another place where I plan to work up the soil, and actually I plan to dig up these little plants and put some of that topsoil in here with it, and maybe some peat moss, but I know there's peat moss in the topsoil, so I'll just see how I think that will work when I get to it. But I do want to take these up, put some different soil down, and give them a better chance, because they're just not coming up through this old hard ground. Pretty sure that goes for this lovely little peony too, which is dying, and I don't want that. I want to see it live in all of its beauty. And it looks like we may have gotten just under 1/4 of an inch, so actually that's a little more than I thought we got. Today is May the 10th, and as you can see, well, not by this one because it's still looking good, but I did not get the old dead roses clipped off of my rose bush, so it won't look so ugly, and also so that it will bloom again. But I did get a lot done. I got so much done. And I'm going to take you around and see if I can show some of it to you. I refilled this little pot with some new white impatiens, and even added a few more of the sedum. There's another name that my friend calls it, so it may not be sedum, but I love it. It usually works well no matter when or where you put it. Comes back from overwintering and to work again for me for the spring. So I do like it a lot, and actually these were looking pretty puny, though, because of the cool nights that we'd had. But I think our cool nights are over until fall comes back to greet us, and we'll be ready for them then. So I put a little salvia in this little pot right here, but it may not get enough sunlight, but I'm thinking it may also, so I'm going to hope for it and see what will happen, because I just think that would be pretty with those little tall spikes of red coming up from this pot and peeking over. I even put some of that sedum, or spurge, that's what she called it, into this little upside down pot, and I'm letting it grow its root and get strong in this pot for a week or so, and then I'll turn it upside down and let it hang in its little designated space, and I think it's going to look lovely. And there probably is more that I did not get done than I did get done. These little pots are still awaiting to have some flowers put in them. And I was hoping that something, whatever I had in this pot, would come back, but it's not showing to be what's going to happen. But I did get these little plants replaced. This is a beautiful calabachoa, which actually still matches this little one. The one I had in there didn't have the yellow in the center, and it was just a double bright pink. But this one is a bright pink and a lovely little calabachoa too. And I did replace the petunia. This one is a double petunia, which the other one may have been, I can't remember what I had there, but it didn't make it. So now this one has a chance to make it. And I put one little petunia in this pot, and one in the back of this little pot, which was just an empty spot. So it's got something going there. And today I'm hoping that I will get this pot, get back there and loosen that soil up and put a new hosta in it too. And I'm considering putting my bougainvillea in this little pot. I'm not sure yet because it does get quite a bit of shade here, and I don't know if it gets enough sun. And I'm still considering just to take this little pot, dump it out, divide it up. That'll give it room to grow in this pot, which it may not get this pretty again because this is so full and beautiful, and so is this and the one behind it there. But I think these are too big to do that too, because the pots are too big for me to get in there and get them out and turn them upside down, and they do look so great. I'm going to try to hope they'll continue on to look good for a long time. But this one, I think its pot is small enough that I can turn it up and divide it and put those hostas in pots that look like they're not going to have anything in them. I so hoped this Minuteman one would come out for me, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. But we'll still give it this week to see, because this week is supposed to have some pretty sunny days. And I put some of my scraggly little window clippings from the green sweet potato vine in this little pot because it has some room to grow. I like to see it trailing down. That seems like what it was meant to do. So we'll see how this will be. I know they look scraggly right now, but if they do well, it won't be long till they become the highlight of this little pot. And I did put a few more little ones in this one. I'm so hoping this little calabachoa will keep living and do wonderfully for me. I'm considering to put another one in there, but I'm not sure about that, because if this little one that got so scraggly waiting to be put in the ground or in the soil, but I'm hoping that it will be beautiful just because of that pale yellow. It's, it would be my favorite color, but I just can't show favoritism to those colors because they're all so beautiful. And I did put in a couple more of the purple salvias. I also got out my pliers and pulled up a couple of seedling trees I wasn't able to pull up just by hand. I also redid this little pot, and I think I put my last little strawberry drop trailing coleus, and I don't know, these don't have a root yet, but some of them do have, so we'll see I hope they'll just all grow and continue to look beautiful. But if that doesn't happen, maybe some of them will, and once they get big and healthy, I can take clippings from them to fill this out so I can see how the strawberry drop trailing coleus will look in this little pot. In this pot, I've got some volunteer zinnias coming up, but that thing that looks dead, I kept that in its dormant state in our spare bedroom, which is actually just a junk room for now. But hopefully I'll get back to that someday too. I'm so far on the back burner and so many things. It feels like I'm never going to catch up, but I know if you just keep going and the Lord is with you, things can happen, so I'm hoping for that. But this was a little black lotus plant, and I was hoping it would come back out when the rains came. But actually, we did not get very much rain. I think here it is in the middle of May, and we've only had 1.25 inches in adding up all of the rains that we got. But there's still some chances. Hopefully this weekend and this next week we'll get some more. And I might just pull this little chrysanthemum that's starting in this pot up, simply because the Chinese dunce cap is doing so well there. I would like for it to take up this little pot and come back each year. It does come back, but it does get to looking so scraggly that I could see why people would throw it away thinking it was gone. But Actually, it can come out of that where it just looks like a dried up little puff. And this little pot is where I put 2 little starts from the black and blue salvia, and I know it can look good because last year it did. It'll just grow up on either side of that, and this is actually under where the rain drips off of the guttering, so that's why this little decor piece is in the center of it, because it will direct it away from drowning out my little plant, and it still looks good. And I've told you before, but this little bird is one of my favorite pieces that my brother painted for me. And I am so anxious to get the rest of these little things planted, these little plants. I want to get them planted, and they need to be planted. I'm sure they're wanting to be planted too. And I don't want to lose them just because I didn't get them in the ground soon enough or in the soil soon enough. Most of these will be going in pots. I did try to fill this little pot up, but I actually ran out of the little extreme pink that I also have, of course, in the strawberry pot over here. If I can find it for you. I'll just go over that way a little bit. And there it is, and it's all filled out and looking great, and I hope it'll stay that way and just look better and better. And I know that it can because I've had impatiens in this before. This may be the first time I've ever done it in the light pink, and I'm liking it. I wish I had the whole week to be out here, but I do have other obligations for Wednesday and Friday. And I want to do those things too, so and it all has to be done the soon as I can get to it, so we will see how all that goes. I also did go around and put some brush killer on where I had cut down the roses on the west side of the fence, and I'm hoping that I'll kill those out and actually get some different color ones next spring. That would be my hope to do that. But you also got to know that whatsoever we do, we need to be in line with the Lord, because we know not what a day may bring, especially at this age for me. And I did put a little more sedum in this, sedum. These are sedums. So hopefully it will look pretty for the rest of the season too. And I did put some sedum in this little pot. I did not yet get my little rogue widow's tears out. These are just in the ground, and they will take over everything, so I don't want that, but they are beautiful, so I'm going to put them in a pot where they can't do that and I can still enjoy them. That's my plan. But I heard something, someone had said a joke: if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Oh look, and I'm just now noticing it, but I told you that I like this Herkera or coral bells, and I like it because it has this tiny little bloom on it, which is called insignificant, which I guess it is, but somehow right with these little cherubs sitting on that little bench, it just brings your attention to them. It looks so pretty there. I think, sometimes we figure out what God made little plants for, because sometimes a little plant will be so perfect beside another little plant, or like that one by the little decor piece, that you just feel like God really did make those for each other. And I did put some impatiens in this little pot and some begonias in this little pot. One of them is the what's it called? Just a minute. I think it may be called is it called the devil's wing? That don't sound right. It's a very pretty little begonia anyway, and it's taller than these little short begonias, which also are pretty because they catch the sunlight, and Even the foliage looks bright red and beautiful. Dragon's wing, that's what the taller one is called, not a devil's wing. I knew that didn't sound right, but it is called a dragon's wing, and it is a beautiful little plant. Whether or not it will make it there, I don't know, but I'm hoping it will. And I put a little bit of sedum in this little pot here. I don't like to see an empty pot. I like to see them full of beautiful flowers. And what I don't have enough nursery starts from, I will plant little seeds in. Went ahead and put this little pot out here simply because it had a little hanger on the shepherd's hook. And I think it's ready to go outside. And I put a little coleus right here. It's looking kind of weak and maybe a little wilty, but I hope it makes it. And of course the earth sign that's in this little pot too. So all together I think it's going to make a pretty little showing. And I told you that my fuchsia plant I had here, which was the purple and pink, and this one is the white and pink. You can see it right there. And I went ahead and put it in a clay pot and just set the whole clay pot inside the rest of my little whiskey barrel pot, because that way if it gets too hot on it, I can take it inside or put it in a shade for a while. I think this is another little pairing made in heaven. Is this Dichandra with that blue cast to it, and it trails and trails and keeps right on trailing down to the ground. And this Dusty Miller, they just look so perfect together. And my little oreganum is looking terrible, but there is some life down in there too. So I may come out and flip back the old pieces, and so it'll stop trying to heal something that it may not be able to heal, and let that little green life and health show off and go to its full potential. That's what I'm hoping will happen. I put a little coleus in this pot too, and I'm going to have to give up on this little penta. It was such a pretty little pink penta, but I'm going to have to let it go. It's just not going to make it. And this is another little pot that I brought outside and hope that it will make it, because it's going to have to go through some not terribly cool nights anymore, but it's going to have to go through some heat during the day. And I brought this little pot outside too. I put some little sedum or spurge in this little pot. And I put some more little nursery starts in this pot, but I think I'm also going to have to get another, this was a pretty white bacopa, and I would like to try another one in this spot. But I did put a pretty double petunia. You might even can see how pretty it is right now. This little one won't last long, but I'm hoping that it'll just keep going and fill this pot up. So hopefully it will still be pretty. And I did get the old holes out of this strawberry pyramid, and I put flowers in. I don't have enough yet, I know. I have a few little ones coming up though that will fill out part of this if they live, and I'm hoping they will. But I did also put some actual plants in. I put the pink ones on the outside edge, just 4 of them, and then the purple ones, like the one I just showed you, there are 4 of them on this, the second tier of this little pot. But I'm going to try to get it filled up and going and looking good, and I'm hoping that this little bit of topsoil will give it a little boost and a little help. I'm thankful for my little volunteer plants even though sometimes they need to be thin and sometimes they may not be where I want them. But if the weather is nice, or especially if we're getting a little rain, I can just dip those out with a tiny little garden shovel or spade, or a spoon. A spoon works great to get down beside your other plants when they're tight like this and not ruin any of them. Just dip it out and put it where you want it without hurting your other plants. And then this is the other spot that I put some more of that topsoil, and I actually dug these little plants up. This is a bleeding heart, and this is shaded over here, and I think it will do well there. This was a let's see if I can get where you can even see it. It was a hosta. I don't know if it's going to be able to come out of, and this is another bleeding heart. But I actually dug these up, put some soil farther down in this spot and some of that topsoil, and I'm hoping that they will go ahead and live for me and just be great little beauties. Same with this little Cali peony. I know they can do well in this area because just right on down, well, I'll show you this one. It's all full of dead blooms, but you can tell how healthy that little foliage is, and so I'm hoping that this one will do the same thing. But it did not get a good start, but hopefully it will take off from there and go. This is a pretty little Joseph's coat rose, but I think there's some with more pink. This one usually just blooms in the well, I don't know if I would call this pink or just a light red, but it's pretty, and I like the yellow and the red together. But I still want to get another one. Look at this one. That one's pretty. But I would like to have, I've seen my mother's neighbor had one. My mom had to take me over and show it to me. It was so pretty. But it had more pink and yellow colors together. So I want both. Look at the buds on this one, how they're, let's see if I can make sure you're seeing it there. The red and yellow together. This one I need to take this spent one off so you can see those other ones. Okay, so my post is not going exactly like I wanted it to, but that's only because I've been doing other things, and I'm grateful for getting those done. So when I do get some time, I'll be hopefully able to stick with this a little bit longer and get things done. But as you can see, I did get this little Dracaena, this burgundy spike Dracaena into a pot. I also did bring out my aloe vera, and it was leaning so far over, and so I cut the bottom part of the root off so that it would fit in there, but I left some of the root, and hopefully it will just keep going, and it looks so much better here now since it's coming up out of the middle instead of leaning way over to the side. And I did have to keep the string around it to hold it together because it just wants to lay all the way down and break off if I don't do that. But it's looking good. And I did get this little pot finished with these beautiful little begonias that have that reddish cast to them. And I put a little coleus in there too. I love the color of this coleus, and I hope it will do well. They've been sitting out there where I'm keeping them for too long. I need to have them all in pots, but also I've needed to do some of the other things that we got done, so I just have to do the best I can. I purchased a few more hostas. This is one of them right back here. Actually, I've already shown it to you, but I did, when I showed it to you, it was still in this little grow pot, and now it's in its, hopefully, forever home. And right across from it, right there, is my guacamole hosta. I so wanted it to come back. It tried, but it just didn't make it. So I found another, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and try that one too. And you know, I told you I would like to put some of this little rainbows in hosta in another pot. So I thought maybe I won't clip it off, and I dug down what I thought was deep, and I took it off, and that it came right totally off of its root. Its root is still in there, which may be a good thing, because this one may just go ahead and fill back out and be beautiful. But I'm going to hope for this one too, especially since it's been there for 2 days now and it's not died yet. It's not wilted down. So I'm going to try to keep it watered, and I hope it'll just grow its own little root and get me a whole new plant there too. And I did go ahead and replace the petunia. This is a double petunia also. I'm not quite sure of its color yet, but it'll be pretty no matter what color it is. Although, oh my goodness, sometimes when you can put plants together, on Main Street in town by the Boomerang is another little shop with Bath and Body Works, and it had the prettiest little arrangement in it that was growing outside the windows of the store. And I don't know the names of the one. It looked kind of, the flower itself looked kind of like a oh gosh, now I can't think of my words. I hate that, but like a mandevilla or a trumpet vine, only a little smaller, and it was in a most gorgeous shade of orange. And then down below it, she had just filled it up with purslane moss, which was pink. But the center, and a large part of the center, was that same shade of beautiful orange. And put together, sometimes if we get the right plants put together, they're just gorgeous, and hers was. So, but I'm proud to have this little one going again. I may get another little plant to put in there with it or not. I'll just have to wait and see. I feel like I'm spending too much time because I have so much to do today. And tomorrow is my great-nephew's graduation, so I'm not going to miss that if I can keep from it. Although I think he made his own non-invitation graduation card, and he put some things on it that got an old person's mind just a little bit confused, like, does he want me there or not? Because he put it's going to be boring and you're not invited anyway, and didn't tell the address, and I don't know, I think it was a joke, but I'm not sure. But I do know I am invited because his grandmother and his mother has let me know. And actually, this is one of the places where I put the little mandevilla that was in with that burgundy dracaena that I just showed to you. And there were 4 of those little mandevilla in with that. So I put 2 of them in places in the front and 2 of them in places in the back. Look, my little red rose decided to bloom. Look at this lovely iris. And right over here is where that beautiful clematis bloom was. And you can tell that this soil is not good. And I'm going to put some more. I had a little bit of that topsoil left, and I'm going to dig around this and put some topsoil around it and hopefully help it. I want it to live. I love clematises, even though in Oklahoma that our summers get too hot for them and they're not pretty. But in the spring and in the fall, they can be gorgeous. And speaking of gorgeous clematis, look at this. Miss N. Thompson. I found this at Home Depot yesterday. We had to go to the doctor in the city, and we just try to make the most of our day there, although we also can end up trying too hard to make too much of the day. We got so tired, and we actually wanted to go stop by a different hospital and see a friend, but we didn't get that done. We both just got totally tuckered out. But I had this in my garden once. It's every bit as beautiful as that picture shows it to be. But a mole or vole, something got it. And so I haven't had it in the garden for a while. I found it in a catalog and ordered it, but it was sold out. So, and this was the only one of this color, this variety of clematis that they had. And look, it's going to have a new blooming right down below it, maybe two more if things go well. Oh, and another one on this side. Oh my goodness, I'm so anxious to see it. I forgot about it when it didn't come that particular season that I ordered it and it was sold out. I just went with some that they did have in that place of that one, and for some reason, I don't know how, I could have forgot this, but I did. So anyway, now it's there again. Hopefully I'll get it in a good spot it'll like and keep going for years and years. That's my hope and plan. And I was looking back here at these two because they're so pretty, especially this purple up against that yellow. But they're both pretty, and these are, and I had to have a change of battery there, but I was saying these are Veronicas, and I've had both these colors in my garden before. And I'm pretty sure, again, it was a not snails, but snails take anything out they can enjoy living around. But it was voles or moles or gophers, something like that took these Veronica out. So I'm anxious and happy to have them back in my garden. And I went to Janie's this morning after my husband and I had breakfast at our local Boomerang, and I found this. I wish the bloom was on here so you could see it, but it is a beautiful shade of yellow, and it's a double, and it was at a good price for one of these beautiful hibiscus. So when it blooms, I'll be sure and try to catch that. You know, they only last for a day anyway. It had fallen off when I purchased it, and she apologized that it did, and I'm like, it did its purpose because I wasn't planning on getting any hibiscus, because I still have two right over here that I need to plant. I think they may both be just red, but when you see that beautiful red bloom, you'll say, what did she say just red about? It's gorgeous. But sometimes I'm used to having the reds, but all these new colors and doubles, and they're just so exciting. And of course this is one of the, sometimes this trails, it's all kind of sticking straight up right now, but isn't that a bright and beautiful color? And I'll definitely find some places for this. And I still haven't got my little dwarf Alberta spruce planted, and I want to do that too, but today is probably not going to happen. One thing, it's very hot out right now, and another thing, I just have other things that I've got to get taken care of, and I definitely want to get everything watered up before leaving it tomorrow. So I'm actually going to call a halt on today's post, even though I don't really have it finished, but I'll finish it up this next week hopefully, and we'll see you then. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.